First, let us clear the air. Whereas there is more dementia in old age, there is also early onset. So it is not purely a disease of old age.
Okay.
It is more common because you have lived that much longer. Denise Eldermire Shearer, Professor of Public Health and Aging, and with a long history of looking at matters concerning aging, older people and their families.
Okay. All right. So this month, September, we are highlighting issues around dementia. And I wanted to engage you and say, for you to tell me, what is it about families with persons that you suspect to have some kind of illness associated with old age that makes you go, I wonder if.
Okay, first let us clear the air. Whereas there is more dementia in old age, there is also early onset. So it is not purely a disease of old age.
Okay.
It is more common because you have lived that much longer.
Okay.
Just like lung cancer. If you smoke for 40 years and 50 years versus 10 and 20, you are more likely to get it. So it's the age comes in by virtue of exposure to the risk factors. And because we know that Alzheimer's, which is one of the dementias, only one, does have its origins in enzyme deficiencies, etc., they take a while to develop. So if we look at dementia as an umbrella term for the different types, each type has its own peculiarities. The common thread is memory loss to the point of interfering with thinking, judgment, reasoning. So it interferes with your ability to perform the tasks of life. Memory loss alone is not dementia. It may be an indicator to the family that something is wrong, but it does not make the diagnosis. So there are tests. Commonly there's the Montreal cognitive test, there's the mini mental, which most of us still use, where you ask the person questions. The questions are divided into straight memory, but also into thinking. And there are questions in the preliminary tests that can test your ability to reason. So you do subtraction, you do drawing of triangles, you do drawing of clocks. So the preliminary test, that's done, usually by the GP, usually in the family doctor's office, indicates to the family, should this be further investigated? Critical to this is that the family does not accept that memory is part of, or memory loss is part of aging. The family, its recognition of dementia starts at the family level. And we don't want to think anything is wrong with our loved one, especially our mother, father, grandmother. Therefore, we accept the fact that they forget things and say they're getting old, let us support them. But it's not. If it is to the point of disrupting life, then you need to have that discussion with your family doctor and take it from there.
Is it a shame? Is it a condition that we ought to be ashamed of within the family?
Definitely not. And I am not sure that we are as ashamed of it as we are accepting of it. Because from I was little, and I'm now one of these older persons, we always heard that this relative or that relative was senile. They had dementia.
Okay.
So it was unfortunately accepted as part of getting older. It is in the last 20-25 years, because of the work of organizations like Alzheimer's Association, that it is coming more and more to the fore that it is not a normal part of aging, but that it's an illness. there's more and more attention in the last 5 years to something called brain health. And you have experts now in the area of brain health. And so I think it's more that we didn't know that it was something to be concerned about. There may have been some shame, but that's not what I'm sensing. I'm sensing more that people just accepted that older people got forgetful.
Okay. What is the difference between being senile and having dementia, or is there a difference?
I don't think there's a difference. Okay. I think in the older years, because we didn't know the term dementia, we called it senile. No, it was very clear to us, even in those days, that there was a difference between different people. Dementia in older people is very unique to each person. We know there's, that there's memory loss, there's thinking loss, etc. But depending on which part of the brain is affected, you're going to have different manifestations. So for the frontal lobe, you are going to have behavioral problems, emotional problems. If it's in the balance center, you're going to have balance issues. The thing about dementia is you have Alzheimer's, which, as I said, is a disease entity in its own. However, we also have vascular dementia. Now, vascular dementia has with it, as is implied, a blood vessel component. Therefore, you have additional concerns. You have strokes, you have high cholesterol, those sort of things, which have their own symptoms, which are going to be superimposed on the memory problems, the thinking problems. So for people, it's very important to get the diagnosis. We're a country where after the age of 60, 72% of the population has high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a risk factor for dementia, for vascular dementia. Okay. Therefore, when we're talking about prevention, management, we're not talking about old people. We're talking about managing middle-age and adults in general. Because if there is high blood pressure, then you want to think about the exercise, the overweight, the smoking, the cholesterol. Because in managing those problems, you are going to reduce the risk factors, and therefore you're going to reduce the likelihood of developing dementia.
This is completely without any kind of measurement by me, but I have noticed a large number of persons, and you see them every day on the roads, who are overweight. And with obesity being a forerunner to this,
to blood pressure and
diabetes and all the attendant diseases, are we at a point where we need to have some kind of policy issues on probably labeling of foods in particular, to say for persons, this is how many calories are in this meal? I know that some years ago there was some discussion around that.
And most of them still have it.
Yeah. For
me, the policy, which does exist, is that we need to teach people about obesity. Because, and some of the programs that we have in schools now with the reduction of sugar, etc. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen in 30 years. I won't be around, but it's going to be interesting to see, having introduced the school programs. But it's also about physical activity. So it's not just about food and calories. It's also about physical activity. We all drive now. Nobody walks anymore. Nobody walks to school anymore. Even in the country areas. We have fast food everywhere now.
Even in the schools?
When I did that 2017 study, I did focus groups in the rural areas. And I'm in a rural church doing the focus group, and I'm looking at a fast food place. Now, normally when we do the focus groups out of town, we do soup. They told me no, even in the country, deep rural areas where you expect people still to be having yam and banana.
Potato and plantain.
They want the fast food. So I think the prevention or the reduction, because I don't know that we'll prevent it, of obesity is much more than just labeling.
Yes.
We also have culture. We also have culture to battle with, because the grandmothers and the gentlemen think if you're losing weight, then you're sick.
Yes.
So we also have to change culture. Which one is beautiful? Fluffy or thin?
And we have a lot of influencers in the social space now with fluffies and in inverted commas body types, and a lot of people seem to want to be like them.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the fight against obesity is a very complicated fight and has many elements.
Right. You think we can win that?
We have to. We have no choice. Because it's so linked to so many illnesses.
Yeah.
We're living longer.
Yes.
You know, when I started this work way back when, you probably didn't live much past 65.
Yeah.
So you retired at 60, you had 5 years to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Once you retire now, whether at 60 or 65, you are likely to live into your 80s.
Yes.
Now, and it is in those ages that you've lived, as I said before, 40, 50 years with the risk factors. You are going to see more illness in older people by virtue of just their length of life. The strokes, the diabetes, the hypertension, and the dementia. So we can't give up the fight.
Yes. From where you have sat over the years, is there what is the prevalence of, say, male versus female with dementia?
We see a higher prevalence in females after the age of 75. And the reason for that is we have more females.
Okay.
But we also have more females with high blood pressure, we have more females with obesity, we have more females with diabetes. And therefore we also have more risk factors. So these are some of I don't think we know the full cause, but I know that those are the contributing factors.
Is there any kind of genetic disposition to it?
There is a genetic disposition to early onset Alzheimer's, and there are genetic studies that can be done. I guess you can say there are some genetic contributors rather than factors, because you do have heart disease running in families, you have diabetes running in families. So these are some of the concerns, but we don't see a direct genetic link as yet. It's through the factors.
What about age groups? What is the youngest person that you've seen suffering from dementia or any?
The youngest that I personally have seen are in the early 50s.
Okay.
But there are clinical case reports coming out of some of the more developed countries in their 40s, and that's where you can show the genetic link. Those cases, however, are few and far between so far.